Ah, it's that time of the year again. Glastonbury. What was once a wonderful music festival that united so many people has, like so many other things in recent years, been infiltrated and transformed into a woke social engineering vehicle used to push the message. They've had the WEF gremlin puppet Greta Thunberg doing her climate alarmism. They've had singers preaching about their right to kill unborn babies. They've had Jeremy Corbyn criticising Donald Trump's plan to build a wall. Let's play a game very quickly. Watch this clip and see if you can spot the hypocrisy.
If you can see that far, look on the wall right over there that surrounds this wonderful festival. And there's a message on that wall for President Donald Trump. And you know what it says? Build bridges, not walls.
Walls are okay when we build them to keep out unwanted people. There's nothing hypocritical about that whatsoever. This weekend we were treated to a presentation by Bob Vylan. He advocated for violence and told people who were concerned about the direction that their country was heading in and were unhappy with how it had transformed in recent years to shut the fuck up. Let's have a little watch.
Heard you want your country back. Shut the fuck up. Heard you want your country back. You can't have that. The only place I know, scrolling right under my nose. My ignorant scum, trying to lay claim to a land that ain't theirs anyway. Wait, what did you say? Heard you want your country. Free! Alright, but have you heard this one though? Death to the IDF! Death to the IDF! Death to the IDF!
Sarah Vine asks, isn't this incitement to violence? If someone like Tommy Robinson said the equivalent at a rally, wouldn't he rightly be arrested? Good question, Sarah. Academic Agent says, this will become a galvanizing moment for the British right. A tremendous error by the left. Very true. End Wokeness said, this is a better ad for deportations than any marketing team could produce. I agree. Lee Anderson MP said, this will test the two-tier justice system theory. I wonder which police station this nutjob is currently residing in. Patrick Christie's said, this will probably be used as Reform's campaign video released the day before the next general election. It wouldn't surprise me at all. This sort of thing is not going to fly. Nicholas Lysak said, the Lucy Connolly case set the precedent loud and clear. Bobby Vylan must be charged. His foul tirade at Glastonbury today was pure incitement and 1,000 times more explosive than Connolly's deleted tweet. Two-tier policing cannot be allowed to stand. Arrest him. Adam Williams says, the hate of Britain, our heritage and history has no place here. The BBC, our national broadcaster, should be ashamed that this was aired. I won't be shutting up, and nor will millions of other Brits. Things are getting hot. Things are heating up. You can feel it. Something bubbling, and it's only going to come to a crescendo. Tony says, normal, decent British people look at this man and see a traitor. A man that hates the West, hates this country, hates the British. Like hypnotized lemmings, the middle-class British youth have bought into this thinking, indoctrinated by universities and the education system. They hate their country, their heritage, their history, and support its enemies. Woke is a hybrid weapon of war. It's a mind virus. When I saw footage of Glastonbury yesterday, I saw how the Nazi Party came about in Germany in the 30s. Creator Father Ted just says, haha, what's the name of the song? Now, a lot of people apparently got in touch with Avon and Somerset Police to raise concerns about this, and the official Avon and Somerset Police Twitter account sent out the following. We are aware of the comments made by acts on the West Holt stage at Glastonbury Festival this afternoon. Video evidence will be assessed by officers to determine whether any offences may have been committed that would require a criminal investigation. And there are 8.3 thousand comments underneath that tweet at the time of making this video. Leilani Dowding, you know her. It was way more than anything Lucy Connolly posted, and to a way bigger audience, 8,000 likes. Actor Matthew Marsden, he just says, "You won't do a thing." Well, I hope that's wrong, Matthew. Well, we will find out, and I'm sure a lot of people will be watching the developments very closely. Just like they're still watching the developments of that Labour councillor who said, "Cut their throats." You remember that? I remember that. We remember that. We're still watching. Johnny Bell replied to Avon and Somerset Police, "We expect the same swift justice that was handed out to Lucy Connolly to be handed out to the Jew haters and riot inciters at Glastonbury today. Anything less is two-tier policing." And he includes a screenshot of an article about Lucy. Ryan Malarkey says, "Pure Anglophobia. Any country undergoing trauma should just shut the fuck up, apparently." And what's interesting is that this performer, Bob Vylan, is followed by BBC Suffolk and Sadiq Khan. You know him as the mayor who helped destroy London, the man who denied the existence of grooming gangs and forced through ULEZ to prevent people from driving cars. Johnny Bell. There are people rotting in prisons for online posts that were less offensive than the Jew hatred and cause for rioting that were on show at Glastonbury today. We expect arrests and swift prison sentences for those involved. This is where I think there may be some disagreement. Those people who were imprisoned last summer following what happened in Southport, I don't agree with their imprisonment. I believe in freedom of speech, and I can understand the temptation for people to use Lucy Connolly's imprisonment as a reason to call for the arrest and imprisonment of this person. I am a free speech advocate. I think rather than this person being arrested, charged and sentenced as well, I think it would be better for Lucy Connolly to have never been arrested, charged or imprisoned in the first place. Sophie Corcoran said, "Lucy Connolly is sitting behind bars for a tweet. I would expect that if you say this at a massive festival that's broadcast and watched by millions of people, you should be arrested as well." Someone tagged Yvette Cooper, MP. "Will Bob Vylan get arrested?" Carl Benjamin Sargon says, "Every count will be proven." Wolf, not sure who this person says, "I can assure Bobby Vylan that the English will indeed get our country back much sooner than he expects." Steve Laws says, "If this doesn't radicalize you, then you're fucking pathetic. It's a literal African prancing on stage yelling, 'Shut the fuck up' to the English who wants their country back. Remigration is a kindness, remember that." Matthew Marsden, just as an independent tweet, not replying to anything that happened at Glastonbury directly, although I think that he was referring to that among other things, said, he posted a tweet and said, "There is going to be a global conflict pretty soon, but not between countries. It will be a series of civil wars in Europe and in the United States. As the left becomes increasingly unhinged, the right is becoming less and less patient with them. I hope I am wrong. I really do." And yeah, I think that's entirely true, and I think it is deliberate. I think it's intentional. I suspect that the reason why the UK government has an open borders policy is to allow people in that are going to cause problems. Just a couple of weeks ago, we saw that what happened in Liverpool when a man in broad daylight tried to kidnap a woman. We're seeing more and more examples of women being harassed and abused, more conflict. You know, the idea of multiculturalism is, well, it's promoted by people who want there to be civil unrest and accepted and celebrated by stupid people who are naive beyond belief and living in a child's fantasy world where there are rainbows and fluffy clouds and bunnies and kittens. People who don't understand that difference in beliefs very often leads to conflict. Yeah, I think it's true. I think there is going to be a lot of civil unrest very soon, a lot of fights. I wish it didn't come to this, but the globalists and corrupt public servants who comprise governments throughout the world have signed up to this. There needs to be chaos in order for there to be a great reset. There needs to be the justification for greater tyranny and facial recognition cameras and digital IDs and CBDC and all of the rest of it. There has to be disorder first, create the problem and then offer the solution. This performer, Bob Vylan, is a useful idiot, and the perfectly reasonable people of Britain who have seen their country transform for the worse in a very short space of time, their patience is running thin.